What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the DFS Army Bold Calls Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Kevin Allen, aka the Fantasy Football Geek. I am here with my crew. We got the full crew together. My man, Season Long Sez, Alan Seslowski. What's up, bro?
Hey now. No, off-season content continues, my friend. Combine getting underway, and you were just getting back from Mexico, which we're going to hear about in a few minutes, I'm hoping.
No doubt. Mexico, good times, good weather. We also have from the Flex Network, Shane, Flexi Sexy Shane. What's up, my man?
What's going on, gentlemen? So are you in Indy right now, Geek, or what?
I am not in Indy at the moment. I'm in the studio.
Oh, of course, yeah. New York studio, right?
I'm in the New York studios, the DFS Army Studios, New York City.
Geek, get closer to that mic so we can hear you.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. New York Studios, NYC in the house. And we are talking off-season fantasy. It's my favorite time. Fantasy football never sleeps. Okay? If you're not thinking about next year's draft, you're falling behind right now. I don't care that it's February. Okay? I don't care that it's leap year. You got a longer February than usual. It's one extra day to study your fantasy football preseason rankings. And today, we're going to talk about breakout players from each team. We're going to get started with our sort of potential breakouts from each team series. We'll see how far we can get in a quick one today. 30 minutes. We're going to go through the first 5 or 6 teams in the NFL. Alphabetical. No favoritism. I hope we get to the Bears because I have something to say about them.
Well, you're controlling the flow. So, if you want to pick another team within that alphabet, that is perfectly fine.
I do. I'm hoping I can get to the Bears because I got some things to say. But
all right,
let's get started. I'm going first because my favorite breakout player.
Get on that, Geek. Get on that mic, man. Get on that mic because we don't want the producer, Mr. Bobby, to yell at me again for not having you on the mic. So turn that mic up a little bit.
You know what's going on here? Let me see. Hang on.
Well, just turn it straight ways instead of having it slanted like that. If you're talking to the top of that thing,
you'll just making sure I'm on the right. I got the right settings here. Okay, here we go. All right. You ready for this? We're going to start with my favorite breakout player. So the Arizona Cardinals are now discussing, or the rumor is out that David Johnson will be cut, will be released, will be traded, will be something. Why? Because my breakout player for 2019-18 that didn't break out but is going to break out this year, Kenyon Drake. I had to take this one for myself. He is one of my favorite players for the 2020 fantasy football season. I will have him on all my rosters because I'll have him ranked higher than you, listener. But for the Cardinals, he is my breakout player. What do you think, guys? Good. And there's a few to choose from, by the way, on this team. So, Christian Kirk, there are other names here.
Hey, you get one name per round.
I'm choosing the Drizzy, but I like this whole offense. What do you think?
I think, Alan Seslowski, you were the original Kenyon Drake truther, without a doubt. But I don't know, man. Like, the reports came out a couple weeks ago that they were going to potentially cut David Johnson, but he has, like a $16 million odd dead cap. So I don't think it makes any financial sense for them to do that. At the very least, he's a body, right? And whether or not he's dust or not is too early to be seen. Kenyon Drake, Geek, I don't know if you've partaken in any of these best balls yet, but he's going in like the late second right now. So you're going to have to be pretty aggressive. Like, you're going to have a mid to early second round pick if you want to be ahead of the field on that guy. But how could you hate it? Right now, let's best ball 10, his ADP is 25. So that's right at the start of the second or third round, excuse me. So I don't hate it. I like it. Al?
Yeah, what's it called? It's if things fall right, he's going to be a late first round pick, or I'm on board with a Geek.
So I'll take him at the end of that second round if he becomes the starting running back in that pass heavy Arizona sort of wild offense, a lot of passing game work. I just think the talent has been there for years. It's never been exploited. We've always seen it. We've wondered why Miami didn't take advantage. I think Arizona noticed it. They know what they're doing. I like that play. All right, let's move on to the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going to go to you, Shane. Atlanta Falcons, breakout player. Lots to choose from here.
See, the funny thing about the Atlanta Falcons is that you kind of thought that maybe like Julio Jones is going to take a step back. So in theory, Calvin Ridley might take an opportunity to go forward. I would have said Austin Hooper until there's this discussions about them not being able to actually keep him, which
he's gone. It's gone.
Pretty important. Well, they can't afford him, right? They're just they're in cap hell right now. So is it a hot take to basically say that Julio Jones is not going to take a step forward or take a step back? Like, I'm taking Julio Jones still in the mid-second round. I think you shouldn't be afraid to take Julio Jones. It's not a hot take, but some of these people, especially these dynasty leaguers, they like, okay, I want to get out of a player a season early. I think, guys, season long this year, Julio Jones, he's an absolute beast. Stick with him. Don't be afraid.
Wait, so let me get this straight. Geek's breakout player is a starting running back on Arizona who broke out the last 5 weeks.
Free agent.
Okay. And Shane's breakout player is Julio Jones. I'm not sure you guys got the memo on this exercise yet. I'm of course, but your logic is sound, Shane. I mean,
can I throw out for Arizona for Atlanta my breakout player being whoever they draft at running back?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is that fair?
Yep.
I would love to see one of these, like a J.K. Dobbins, or even what about like a Clyde Edwards-Helaire, because he knows how to catch the ball out of the backfield. And you saw that that's how Atlanta wants to play their game.
Yeah, I think Atlanta is more likely to sign a Melvin Gordon than to start a rookie. That's just based on the coach staff, but we'll see. I mean, it'll be interesting to see for sure.
Yeah, it's got to be Atlanta RB, whoever it is. Everybody's better than Devonta Freeman.
Dust in the wind.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next team. We're going quickly through teams here.
Okay, good.
We've got the Ravens.
All right, let me show you guys how
a breakout offense from 2019. Who is your breakout player here? Almost everybody on the team could be considered that outside of.
There's only one answer here. There's only one.
Okay, so this is how I see it. All right, the running attack led by Lamar Jackson is definitely going to be one of the most potent in all of the NFL. Mark Ingram is 31 years old. If Gus Edwards, who's a restricted free agent, signs somewhere else, I think that we are about to see a Justice Hill explosion. And I think that, he is tailor-made for this style of running game. He's a little bit smaller, so he's not a between the tackles, typical player that you would think of, but he is a player that has so much speed, could hit the outside, and would be a perfect complement to that Lamar Jackson rushing attack. I like Justice Hill as a possible breakout, as long as it could happen in week 1. It could happen if Mark Ingram breaks down at age 31.
I'm cool with it, man. My only concern with running back on Baltimore is always going to be just, Lammy Jacks is taking those tutties for himself. He loves them. He loves taking them for himself. So,
again, Justice Hill is going to be a player, even if his ADP rises, that it will go to the 9th round. Right now, he's basically a 14th, 15th round player.
Totally fair. And I like the best ball idea, especially considering, he's going to be without God. If Gus Edwards is gone, he would be a very premium backup. Regardless, he'll get a lot of touches. He's the kind of guy you want in that 10th round of your best ball league. Shane, what do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, I love Justice Hill, right? Like justice will be served this season. I don't have the stats in front of me, but how many reception touchdowns did Ingram catch last year? It was it basically like created his fantasy value. Made him elite.
I think he got 4 or 5. It wasn't a ton.
Yeah. It was like, those are the kind of plays, like those should be going to Justice Hill. Like he's the kind of player that you want to get the ball in his hands for sure.
Absolutely.
I'm cool with that. You can't, you look at this team. Could you call Hollywood Brown a breakout? I don't think it's a breakout. I think we already like him. Same thing with Andrews at tight end. It's not a breakout. The guy had his breakout. That was this year.
What about my favorite guy on that team? Miles Boykin.
You got to like Andrews for sure. And Hollywood Brown and maybe another. Maybe another wide receiver will emerge on that team. I don't think it's going to be.
You don't think it's going to be Boykin?
Willie Snizzles.
Sneed.
Willie Sneed already had his
thing, guys. Sneed is not a thing.
Yeah, he already had his fantasy day breakout, whatever it was, a couple years back. He was useful for fantasy. All right, let's keep moving then. I like our page.
I'll take the next team. I'm going in alphabetical order. I'm not feeding myself easy ones here.
Okay.
But next up, we've got the Buffalo Bills. And listen, you tell me, is it Singletary, is that a breakout, or we're like, no, he's already like a locked in guy that's a stud?
And unless you're predicting Singletary to be a top 5 RB, I don't think that it's a breakout. I think if you're saying he's going to be RB 12, RB 16, that's kind of where everyone's expecting him to be. A breakout is something where you expect a guy, in my definition, you draft a guy, you have an idea where he's going, and then he exceeds those expectations tenfold.
It's tough to know where Singletary will be drafted,
but you have an idea.
I believe he is going to be an RB1. I'm not saying a top 5 guy, but I like Singletary as an RB1, a very comfortable play. Listen, does Josh Allen steal the tutties? Yes, he does. Is he going to continue to steal the tutties? Yes, he will. But with Frank Gore, there's just no way a 47-year-old running back can keep going.
Yeah, no, he's not going to be. I could see, again, Devontae Freeman, someone that's kind of a little washed, looking for a 25% role, 20% role, could land in Buffalo, could land in Baltimore. I think that Singletary's days of competing with someone for serious carries, I mean, he's a reasonable breakout player, I think.
Now, Shane, do you think there's a wide receiver yet to be drafted that might be the actual breakout player for this Buffalo team?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Al, like one of your favorite guys coming into the draft, Henry Ruggs, he's been mocked to go to the Buffalo Bills. A guy like Jalen Reagor, so like one of these speedsters. I know John Brown historically in his career was known as a speedster, but that's not how they used him last year. He's a guy who's kind of reliable for Josh Allen. So I could see them going out drafting a wide receiver. And you know what? The boy that we love the most, Dawson Knox.
Yeah, that would be.
I mean, the only problem with Dawson Knox is he doesn't catch touchdowns. He didn't do it in college. He hasn't really shown the ability to do it in the NFL. But in your tight end premium type leagues, where you actually get that 1.5 point per reception for tight ends, I think Dawson Knox is going to be a thing. When you talk about breakout, I think he's going to be a relevant tight end 1. So I don't know if that counts as a breakout, but I think he's going to be a guy you're going to be cool to have on your roster.
In most redraft leagues, he probably won't even get drafted. So I think that it's a good call. I love Knox, certainly. Next team.
I'm certainly not confident in Knox to get there. So if he did, that would absolutely count as an incredible breakout. We'll see if it happens. I think Knox was a little bit of fool's gold in season 1 and would be very speculative to draft almost anywhere in a season-long league outside of maybe the final rounds of your best ball league. All right. This one's for you, Season Long Sez.
No, Shane's up.
Oh, Shane's up. All right, this one's for you, Shane.
Carolina Panthers. Man, that's tough because I'm not entirely confident they're actually going to go out and draft any wide receivers. I mean, there's some talk that, Curtis Samuel didn't break out last year, and maybe they're going to give up on him. But the talk right now is that Cam Newton is going to be back in Carolina. I think that's a good thing for everybody on the field. And I think that he's going to be able to utilize Curtis Samuel. He's a player that is highly efficient. I was looking at a stat before that he was, I think, number 1 in terms of underutilized air yards. That means shitty quarterback play down the field. If Cam Newton can get him the ball, I think that's going to be a breakout opportunity for him. And I'm excited for Curtis Samuel. Let's go. We are a year too early, Al.
Yeah, we were definitely on Curtis Samuel a year too early. Comparing him to DJ Moore, it was close. Obviously, DJ Moore had a spectacular season. Yeah. What about Ian Thomas with old man Olsen out of the way?
That's a great one. Ian Thomas is going to be, I could see him finishing somewhere like tight end 8, tight end 9, which, doesn't win you leagues, but it keeps you above water and keeps you from scrambling each week to try to find a guy. I think Ian Thomas in the 9, 10, 11 range, as far as round, I'm going to be interested in him for sure.
I'd be surprised if he's even going that high in best ball leagues right now. You are the best ball preseason pre-draft maniac, so you would know better than I.
Yeah. So Shane and I are in a best ball 10 together right now. We're pretty much near the end. And this draft, I actually was the team going from the 8 slot that took Ian Thomas, and I got him in round 9 in the middle of the round. So yeah, that's right. He's going right between Dallas Goedert and Jonnu Smith and TJ Hawkinson and another guy that we all like. I'll even save him for a breakout. One of the tight ends from Miami. We'll save him.
Nice. Now I'm going to skip a team. I'm going to give you the Bengals to break down, Sez. which is a great team with lots of potential breakouts, including guys who aren't even on the team yet.
Okay, so yeah, no, that's true. So I'm just going to assume that they're going to upgrade the quarterback with either Tua or Joe Burrow. Okay, so I'm going to make that assumption. So my breakout player, based on that assumption, and I like both of those quarterbacks to have early success in the NFL, and I'm going to be very interested in John Ross, who is an actual real quarterback who can throw the ball downfield. Now, I know John Ross.
Wait, hold up. You mean to tell me that switching the quarterback will cause John Ross to not get injured every third game?
Yeah, now he's definitely proven to be.
What the hell does that have to do with it?
He's definitely been proven to be brittle so far, but we've seen this happen a couple times where guys have unfortunate injuries early on. And, just because he is smaller, he's taking some hits. He's not going to hold up as well as the other guys. But again, he's going to be basically double-digit, low cost, almost no cost in dynasty leagues. You could probably get him for a late second-round pick at this point. His owner's going to be looking to get out. If it's going to happen for this top 10 pick from 2 years ago, it's going to happen with an elite quarterback option. And if A.J. Green leaves, I mean, they're going to want to throw. And the thing about John Ross is people have him pegged as a Deshaun Jackson clone. He's not in college. He ran all the intermediate routes too, and he acted mostly like Odell Beckham, where we take those slants and go. So, talking about breakout players in the double-digit rounds that could literally finish as a top 12, top 14 fantasy asset, I like John Ross.
A very risky best ball pick. With the high injury propensity.
Yeah, I'll give you a comparison. Last year at this time, Geek, I was talking about DJ Shark in this capacity. I have that similar feeling, not a feeling, but a similar. There's a comp there for his trajectory. Now, John Ross is in year 3, not year 2 like Shark was, but I could see it happening like that for Ross.
Shane, anyone outside of Joe Mixon, who is pretty much everybody's sexy pick for a top RB? He's not my sexy pick, but everybody else's sexy pick for a top RB.
I still love Tyler Boyd. I think he proved last year a lot of people right in the sense that he actually operates better as the 2. So I don't know if AJ Green's going to be back. I mean, he's another guy that I'm not entirely confident in because he's just been like when you're like 32 years old and you miss an entire season from injury, are you going to come back and be that elite player? I don't know, but I could see the Cincinnati Bengals using John Ross more. I agree that either Tua or Burrow, pick your poison, is going to be a vast improvement on that offense. And I'm actually pretty excited about Cincinnati. When you look at their weapons and you talk about the quarterback upgrade, I'm really excited. John Ross, like my name in a lot of our fantasy leagues is Get Nuclear. It's because of John Ross. It's the nuclear option. Cincinnati went nuclear when they chose John Ross with that 4.22 blazing speed. So I love this guy. Yeah, he's been one of my favorite players. He's just an exciting guy to watch, and it's too bad that he has battled so many injuries because he's really talented. When he was on the field last year, you saw it. So I'm excited. Tyler Boyd, John Ross, maybe they draft somebody like a big-bodied guy, just almost like this ex decoy, right? Well, it's not going to like take.
They're going to get. Remember, they're going to get the 33rd pick in the draft. So after they take the QB, they're going to have their choice of which premium receiver they want. There's going to be a whole bunch of them there.
Yep. It's exciting.
They might get another. I think the Bengals are a definite candidate to pick up a wide receiver in early round 2 to complement the quarterback that they take at the top of round 1. And that's probably a much better shot at that breakout player. Keep Boyd in the role in the slot doing his thing. All right.
Well, I was going to say they might bring in his college teammate Justin Jefferson. I mean that might be a little early for him, but certainly. And then just keep in mind also with Cincinnati, and we could wrap this up, is that they get a free first-round pick this year because their first-round draft pick, the offensive lineman last year who got hurt in the preseason, is coming back. So it's almost like a free first-round lineman coming back.
Yeah, but the team will be improved. We'll see. It's tough for a team to make a massive turnaround, especially from how terrible they were to being good. I don't care how many players you add in 1 year.
They're not going to be good, but they just could be viable for fantasy. Yeah,
they could be kind. We don't care as long as that defense remains terrible. I don't give a shit. They're going to have to be throwing, even if they suck. Fantasy goodness all over the place.
You're up on the Bears, man.
All right. I want to talk about the Bears for a second, and my breakout player is pretty simple. It's going to be Anthony Miller. He looked great. He looked great towards the end of the year. Had a bunch of games where there were some injuries. and he just looked fantastic in those situations. All good. That's my breakout. But I want to talk about the GM of the Bears and what I think he should do. Now, this is the man who passed up on Pat Mahomes. He passed up on Deshaun Watson. Moved up in the traded picks to get Mitch Trubisky on the team.
I mean, it was crazy, right? I mean, he gave up assets to move up one spot.
If this man has any honor whatsoever in life, if he has any self-respect, if he has any pride, he will do the equivalent of the Japanese tradition of harikari.
That falling on the sword or what?
Fall on his sword, hand in his resignation with an apology written as such to my very, very honorable Bears fans.
Ugh.
Yeah, they're not.
Am officially handing in my resignation. I am ashamed of my performance as the GM of this team.
Yeah, that's a big miss. That's a big miss. I
don't deserve this job. And in the interest of all things fair in this world, I fall on my sword. I commit to the act of harikari. I resign, and I promise never to step foot in an NFL front office again. That would be the respectable thing to do.
I could already see the video clip I'm going to pull for this one.
Shane, your thoughts on the Bears GM committing harikari?
Oh man, Allen Robinson. What could have been, right? What could have been when he gets Blake Bortles twice? Poor guy. Good Lord.
I got a question for you though, Shane. I mean, what do you think's a bigger miss? The GM from San Francisco taking Alex Smith and passing on Aaron Rodgers, or the GM moving up to get Trubisky and passing on Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson? Which one's a bigger offense?
It's got to be Mitch Trubisky, right? Like Alex Smith was at least competent. Like he was a game managing quarterback, but he got them to the AFC champion or NFC championship, excuse me. Lost the game there. The following year he got hurt, and the rest is kind of history with his career. But he was at least competent. I'm not even sure Mitch Trubisky's competent.
Mitch Trubisky is Mark Sanchez level incompetent. Like he had a good game once. Like he had 3 good games over the course of 2 seasons. You know who else had 3 good games over the course of 2 seasons? One of the 3 backups for San Francisco last year, like
Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins. Well, like the 6 round quarterbacks have had better careers than Mitch Trubisky with much less opportunity. Like, why are they still starting this guy? It's insane.
Yep.
Give up.
The problem with him is that when he was a rookie, at least he showed his upside in fantasy with the ability to rush, right? He hasn't done anything since his rookie season.
Again, couple good games.
Yeah.
So did CJ Beathard. So did the backup guy for the Lions that came in when Stafford went down for like a minute. Who was that guy who came in? Right? He had a good game.
God.
Oh, the guy that played on Thanksgiving?
Yeah, he had a good game.
What was that guy's name again?
I don't fucking know. I played him in DFS. Like what? I don't know his name. I forgot.
I'm looking.
I forgot. I'll tell you.
Yeah, I can't remember now.
All right.
Yeah,
sorry.
It was David Blau.
Wow. Yes.
David Blau. He was in my Hebrew school class with me back in the day. We had bar mitzvah lessons together. Me and David.
He sang the Haftorah.
Yes, we had lessons together. Me and David. I'm not sure if it's the same David Blau.
Hey, Shane, do they have Jews in Canada?
No. 1 or 2. Yeah, 1 or 2.
Okay.
Not
I dated a Jewish girl when I was
not outside of Ontario province. Like in Saskatchewan, in Manitoba, in Newfoundland, no Jew.
Hey, you know what? By the way, before we move on to Shane doing Cleveland, before we move on to Shane doing Cleveland, I'm curious on Geek, what's your take on Jerry Jeudy coming out of the combine wearing the Star of David, saying that they call him Jew? I kind of like that.
I've moved him up to my number 1 wide receiver based on that.
I wasn't sure if you would take offense to that, Al. No offense. Like you're the first person I thought of when I saw him. Like, is Al gonna like this?
Are you kidding me, man?
I'm not sure.
He wears the Star of David. They call him Jew.
That's great, right?
He's the only one that likes being called Jew.
Like, there's borderline no chance that he's not on my dynasty team. Like, there's no chance. Even if I have to reach for him, I have 2 picks in one of my dynasty leagues. Like, he will definitely be on that team for me.
As a proud Jewish man, I endorse him wearing the Star of David.
There you go.
So,
ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here.
Yep. All right. So Shane's up. I'm gonna push it along a little bit.
Here we go.
Gonna be
Cleveland Browns for you.
We're gonna go. We're each gonna go one more.
All right.
Shane, you're up on Cleveland.
Well, I think the rookie of the year 2 years ago, offensive rookie of the year, Baker Mayfield. I think he's going to take a step forward. He was the number 1 pick in the draft 2 years ago. He was the offensive rookie of the year. He looked good in his rookie season, and he had one bad year in a completely dysfunctional Cleveland Browns team, frankly.
I'm sorry, who's the head coach this season? Is it still Freddie Kitchens?
Oh, man. It's
same guy.
Here's the thing, right? There's so much talent around them.
No, they have a new head coach, right?
Yeah,
Shane?
they do. Yeah, you're putting me on the spot. I can't remember.
Is it Stefanski? No, who is it? Let's say it's we're not fully polished yet.
No, we're not polished. This is how it's going to be. But like we're talking about the likes of Odell Beckham.
I got it right. It's Kevin Stefanski. He came over from Minnesota,
okay.
So he's a good offensive coach.
Yeah, I mean, it's another reason that some people are high on Nick Chubb, right? I mean, people are talking about what they did with Dalvin Cook. Now Stefanski's going to potentially do the same thing with Nick Chubb. Baker Mayfield, like, he's got so many weapons, and you can't like write off a guy's entire career when he's got one bad season in a dysfunctional team. Frankly, I think he's going to have a better season. I'm kind of praying that he has a better season because I've got him in our dynasty league together, and I frankly need him to perform. Because I also have Mitch Trubisky, so yeah,
rough go.
Would David Njoku and a quality season from him constitute a breakout?
That's who I thought that you were going to zero in on. They picked up his 5th-year option, David Njoku, which means the team believes in him. And if you remember back to the offseason podcast last year, Geek, I had a guy on the ground over there that was telling me that every goal line play was either going to Nick Chubb or more than likely it was being shuffled into David Njoku. I loved him. He had a great week 1 last year, then got hurt. He is an athletic freak. Remember, he was a first-round pick. He's going as like tight end 14 right now. David Njoku is the guy, and I think Baker Mayfield's a really good pick by Shane because he's gonna be in 1 QB leagues. You can get him whenever you want, but Njoku would be the guy that I would really zero in on tight end. I think he's in for a major breakout.
Let me go off the rails for a second. You know I like to go off the rails. Has there ever been a first-round tight end that was worth taking in the first round? Like, is there a bigger fucking bust position than first-round tight end? Like, a first-round tight end, is that predictive of a good career out of a fucking tight end? I mean, the road of tears is littered with first-round tight ends. All
right, here's your list. Ready? Here it is. I'll give it to you. Oh no, he wasn't a first round. He was like second or third. I'm going to give you the
Kyle Brady.
I'm going to give you the top 5. Here we go. Vernon Davis in 2006.
Panned out, I'd say. Yep.
Dallas Clark in 2003. But what you said is true here. All right, now it gets ugly, Geek. And
you want to give me Miller? There's like 40 of them.
Well, I'm going to give you, the top 5 of, like career production. Well, these are the only ones that panned out in the last 20 years. So far, we can't really judge Evan Ingram yet because he's been hurt 2 of the 4 years. I would say.
Well, so there's Evan Ingram, there's OJ Howard, David Njoku, TJ Hawkinson. These are all recent guys who were drafted in the first round.
Right, but that proves Geek's point, though. I'm saying the ones
exactly.
Yeah, Vernon Davis, Dallas Clark, Heath Miller, and Kellen Winslow would be the best success stories. So your point is well taken here because the bottom of that list that are still players that are considered good were Dustin Keller, Mercedes Lewis. Greg Olson was a first-round pick, I believe.
Good career. I'll take him.
Yeah, but he was often injured too, could never be. Yeah. And then Ben Watson obviously had a long career.
The thing about the tight end position, though, like we're looking at it from a fantasy lens as well, right? Like tight end is such a complicated position to play. A lot of people say it's actually one of the toughest positions to learn in the NFL because not only are you expected to be blocking, so you got to learn the running schemes. You're going to be catching the ball out of the field in a lot of cases. So it takes tight ends a couple of years to produce. So David Njoku going into his 3rd year, he's only 23 years old. I think that's a really good thing for him. Frankly, I mean, we're not on Tampa Bay, and I want to go on too much of a tangent, but OJ Howard, I'm confident that he's going to have a bounce back year this year, even in Bruce Arians' offense.
Geek's going to fight you out tooth and nail on that one. He's not like when there was good hype on OJ Howard, he was saying he was going to bust.
I told you last year, and I will tell you again, stop.
Is it because of the coach or why? Why do you think he's going to bust?
Because you can't. It's all speculation. The guy has never had a good NFL game.
That's not true.
He averaged like 10. I think in his rookie season, he averaged 10 yards per reception.
Yeah. Give me a break. Sucks.
Listen. All right. Listen, last year, the pendulum swung in your favor, so it's hard to argue. All right. Want to keep moving because Shane's got a hard out in 4 minutes, so let's keep
speculation. All right. Dallas Cowboys.
All right. Michael Gallup is an easy breakout call for me. Yep. I mean, he finished as a top.
Breakout? Did he break out already?
Well, he finished as he barely cracked the top 30 last year. But what you think of him as a breakout and first of all, you can get him in round 7, round 6. I mean, if he would truly broke out, he'd be in the first 3 rounds. Now, Amari Cooper may not sign there. I think he is going to, but in those 4 or 5 games that Gallup, he flashed number 1 wide receiver traits. Now, again, he probably will be drafted as a wide receiver 3 that could finish in the top 10. I think Gallup, it's a toss-up. Who would finish with more fantasy points, Gallup or Amari Cooper? I think that's an actual bet you can get with odds that I would take Gallup all day. As long as he could stay healthy, he looked like a number 1 receiver in those handful of games.
What the hell did Flex Matt call that? Like where you basically drafted the second receiver? Like we did it with Curtis Samuel last year.
An arbitrage?
Yes, the draft arbitrage. Where essentially like Amari Cooper's probably going to be going like round 3. I'll take Michael Gallup in round 5 or 6 any day of the week.
I mean, it didn't work out so great if you took Curtis
No, that
Samuel.
was just one example, but it was a strategy that does sometimes work, right?
The one way that could work this year is if Jarvis Landry's healthy, maybe passing on Odell for Jarvis. But yeah, I don't want to get too off. So
Geek, you're not bet that Juice Landry will outperform Odell. That's
he has a serious injury right now, Landry. I mean, he's not even going to be doing anything for 8 months. So he's a stay away from me. Similar to what AJ.
He has surgery.
Yeah. Always going to have some surgery. He's out 6 to 8 months. I never assume the front end of those timetables. 8 months puts him right around October. He's a stay away from me.
That's not good.
Do not draft him in your best ball if you're listening to this.
Well, good to know. Good to know. When did that injury happen? Was that during the season?
During the season, but he had surgery like 2 weeks ago. The news came out.
Oh,
and he's 27 years old. He's not a young chicken anymore.
Yep. Good player. But yeah, that injury is concerning. All right. We'll pause at the Cowboys. We'll revisit this.
Okay. This was a good exercise.
Yeah, it's a little, as you see, I didn't even know that the Browns had changed coaches. So it's the off season. It's February. We're getting our fantasy muscles stretched out a little bit here, and it's a good thing.
You make a good point. There's a lot of, as you and I and Shane are talking through these things, there's a lot of information that each of us doesn't know that we're exchanging it. And I'm sure the listeners feel the same way. Oh, there's a new coach there. Oh, Jarvis Landry's out. Oh, and that's what February is off. It's not for us to prove that we have
GM committed Harikari.
Right, exactly. It's not for us to say, okay, we learned everything. We're talking through it. We're reading news every day, and we're reporting it to the people, and hopefully an entertaining and compact package.
Absolutely, I love it. All right, we are brought to you by DFS Army, of course, and our sponsor Thrive Fantasy, where you can play prop-based DFS. Alan, tell us about Thrive a little bit.
Oh, dude, Thrive is one of the best prop games out there right now. It's you basically, they'll give you an under over for like LeBron James points, and based on which one's more likely to happen, you get more points. Not only do they have under overs for NBA, they have it for PGA, esports. There's so much cool stuff going on over there. Download the Thrive Fantasy app in your app store. You can use the code DFS Army and get a $20 match on deposit. I highly recommend it going over there.
Do they also get a free month of DFS Army VIP when they do that?
Absolutely. If you do that, screenshot it, send it to us at DFS Army Twitter, and we will give you a free month of DFS Army.
That's worth it right there.
Say goodbye to Shane. He has to go.
Take care, Shane.
Guys. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Brother.
Talk to you soon.
Good job, Shane.
All right. Hey. Thought he'd never leave.
Poor Shane. He's going to hear that after and commit Harikari.
He committed the act of harikari to get off of the Bold Calls podcast here. I didn't want to save the harikari line for the next one. I needed to break it out before somebody else used it.
Absolutely. I like it. And I think that should be a reoccurring theme.
Which GM should commit harikari this week?
Yeah, I mean, you now know that's going to be the name of this episode. It's going to be
harikari.
Harikari.
Is the harikari even a thing, or did I make it up? Like, wait, is that?
I thought it was the guy.
Is that the guy right terminology?
I didn't know that. I thought it was harikari was the announcer for the Chicago Cubs.
No. When Ronin requesting a seppuku at a feudal lost palace is told of the brutal suicide of another who previously visited. That is correct. That's because my ass watched a lot of kung fu movies back in the day.
All right, man. So
harakiri. I absolutely pronounced it wrong, by the way. It's harakiri.
All right. Well, I'm sure we're going to get tons of email on that,
as opposed to Harry Carey, which I believe was some comedian from.
No, he was the announcer for the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, the announcer for the Cubs, Harry Carey. The actual, it's harakiri, not harikari.
Our Japanese audience
was
is going to be
very. Cubs? Harry Carey was for the Cubs.
I think so. I'm not a baseball fan, so
that throws it into the Chicago connection.
There you go.
It's
there you go. I like that.
They call it Harry Carey.
I like it.
Harakiri in Japan.
Yeah.
All right. That's enough.
All right, man.
That's it for this one, guys. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week with some more breakout candidates, some more teams. Maybe your team is coming up. So tune in. For Sez and myself and for Flex Shane, this is the Bold Call, DFS Army Podcast. Deuces.
Oh, I'm the one who has to hit stop.
I can't hit stop, man.
See?
I don't have